What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Spectators. It is episode 156, and I am here with the boy himself, foes up from a boy, Nico. What's going on, brother? How you living?
Hey man, what's up, baby? How you doing? I'm glad I could be here. Glad I could fill in for the usual Brooke.
Yes, sir. We wanted to have all
We,
three, but timing, it's a
you know,
Monday. It
hurricanes
happens.
coming.
Hurricane. This is the pre-hurricane party. If you guys are trying to throw down,
Hurricane.
this is the place to be. Get the bottles, get the champagne.
Might
Because
not have electricity tomorrow.
Oh, no, we won't. Tuesday night, come 9 o'clock, we're cooked. So if you don't hear from us, just know we're still thinking about you. We still love you, I promise. Week 3 of the NFL has come and mostly gone. We have one more game tonight for the Monday night game that I truly don't care about. Cowboys, Giants. Get it out of here. And if it's anything like the Sunday night game last night, I'd rather eat my controller than watch it. I'd rather eat a remote control.
Would you argue, and this is, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people say they don't like watching baseball, but I'll tell you right now, I'm watching a Rays and Yankees series.
I'm watching a Tigers Royals series before I'd watch that.
I'm watching golf.
Well, golf's lit, but I agree. Golf's lit. It takes a little bit of warming up too, but golf's lit.
Shout out my guy Paul Johnson. I'm watching some actual competitive disc golf. How about that? Like, we're watching some there.
Okay.
We're getting there. Shout out my guy Paul Johnson.
Yeah, shout out Paul. Great dude. We got an interview with him if you guys don't know about that. Great guy. Go check that out. T-Box. But yes, it's week 3 of the NFL. We're going to give you guys our winners and losers because there are a lot of them. The NFL is kind of having a weird year. There's only one team without a win, and there's only 2 teams that are without a loss. Technically the Giants, but they haven't played their third game yet. So we'll say 3. As of right now, there's 3.
Yeah.
There's 3.
Yeah, they're undefeated still.
They're undefeated still, but there's only 2 and a third undefeated teams and 1 winless team. So there's just a lot of losses and there's a lot of parity. And realistically, we know nothing about the landscape of this league right now, besides the fact that the Eagles look good and the Raiders don't so far. That's really it. That's really all we know so far.
I feel bad because I had real high expectations of the Raiders going into this year, which kind of sucks. But, you know, if you look at all their games, they're all like nail biters. Like, right?
Yeah, they all come down to the wire.
Yeah, like every single one of them have come like literally down to the wire. So, again, it's week 3, so you don't want to make any too big overreactions. Like if you were to sit here and argue and say that the Raiders are the worst team in the football league,
no. They're more towards the middle than they are towards the bottom.
Yeah, like look to see who they've played in their last 3 games. You know, they got a good game against Arizona, which again they came with an outrageous come from behind overtime comeback win. And then who else did they lose to? The Chargers, I think. Yes. Like, okay, yeah, you got good teams that you're losing to, and then Tennessee, which kind of, you know, is a little shocker. I was expecting Vegas to come out and kind of, you know, get their first win and come with a stomping stone, but Mr. Tannehill had something else going a little. Plans. Yeah, he had other plans going on, and you know, Tennessee needed that too as well if they wanted to become kind of that team that we thought in the beginning of the year Tennessee was going to be. All right, so again, you know, we don't want to make too many beginning of the season overreactions, but you know, it's not looking so pretty for Vegas right now. That's
no, not at all. We mentioned it last week with the 0-2 odds to make the playoffs. If you start at 0-2, I can't imagine they're very good when you start at 0-3, especially in a division like they're in. But they're kind of catching a lot of breaks in that I don't think the division is as good as we thought going into the year. But with that being said, I am going to start with our first loser because I feel like it's only right. And I'm not going to let you say it because I'm going to say it. The Denver Broncos are a loser. And boy, are they a loser in so many regards. All right. The wide receiver duo is about half as good as we wanted them to be. They're super talented. It's not working. The running backs are subpar. Melvin Gordon has fumble issues out of nowhere. Russell Wilson, I'm not going to be overly mad at him yet. It's the 3rd week on a new team. I don't think it's fully fair to judge guys like that. But also, you're getting paid and you got an extension before you threw a single pass for this team with them. We expect you to be great. And you're like a Hall of Fame talent and you've had like a Hall of Fame career. And you don't look like that. You look like the ghost of Jacoby Brissett out there. Like you look like Josh Freeman on the Bucks a couple years ago. Like it's
Listen,
tough to watch football. And they have, I think it's 2 touchdowns on the season.
yeah, like
2 touchdowns on the season?
it ain't been great for Denver at all.
At all.
And I just don't understand. Denver scored I think a total this season of what, like,
We can look this up.
maybe 44 points, and the Bills did that in one game almost. So it's crazy, right? The thing, everyone just was pooping on me about my comment about saying Russell Wilson was number 18. Yes, it was an over exaggeration a little bit. Maybe I've been stepping my boundaries. It wasn't the greatest take, but he wasn't. He's not. He hasn't been that quarterback.
As of this year, he's not a top 18 quarterback. That's just this year. But yeah.
Yeah. What on God's green earth made people believe that Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy were a better wide receiver duo than DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? On what planet was that?
I just don't think any of them are that good. It's like really the issue. I don't think any of them are that good.
That's fair. But people made Russell Wilson going to Denver. Oh, we got Jerry Jeudy, we got Cortland Sutton, we got Pat Surtain.
Like it was some crazy upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah,
he went from DK Metcalf to Devontae Adams. No.
Yeah, you went from throwing to nobodies in New England to then getting Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
It's not
like
the
you
same.
understand, like that's a big difference, right? You get a new team. You get maybe what's the issue now this year? What was the issue in Seattle? What? No O-line, right?
No O-line.
Well, does he have the O-line in Denver now?
They're horrible.
Better than Seattle.
The O-line's horrible.
Still horrible, but it's better than Seattle. So is that's your issue going to be the whole time? Well, golly, that's going to be everyone's issue. But you know what? Great quarterbacks do. They make it work. They make it work with what they have, right? Yeah. Tom Brady had a great O-line, but what? He didn't have receivers. But guess what? He made those receivers great, right? Okay, obviously those receivers are going to play and do whatever they need to do. But Tom Brady, he's that dog, right? The quarterbacks are different. Aaron Rodgers, if he doesn't have what he has, he doesn't have the wide receiver threats he doesn't have. He didn't have Devontae Adams, right? Alan Lazard came back, but MVS was gone, right? He didn't have the same level of caliber of people he has, but he makes it work. That's what great quarterbacks do. And Russell Wilson was a great quarterback and is absolutely, like you said, a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Yeah. Absolutely. But that time is in the past. The past is in the past with that. Russell Wilson, unfortunately, is not who he is anymore. He's not that quarterback that was taking his team to back-to-back playoff Super Bowl championships. It's just tough, and you can argue and say, give him, his third game and a new team.
Which it is, and it's a new head coach, and a new head coach stinks. That's the biggest issue with this team. Fair. Nathaniel Hackett is a fraud. I don't know how he got this job.
Absolutely fair.
And they're 2-1. We're chewing this team, and they're 2-1.
Yeah.
They deserve it, though.
Very sick of me 2-1.
They deserve it, though. It's embarrassing.
It's not a pretty 2-1.
No.
It's just a little upsetting, though, because just the expectations everyone got from the Denver Broncos this year out of nowhere, just with the pickup of Russell Wilson, just bamboozled me. I was confused, like, why this doesn't become like such an overreacted. It's a slight overreaction in a sense, in my opinion, especially with the division that they're in. The AFC is always just the AFC. It's the toughest. It's the AL East debate of the football. You know what I mean? Yeah. The best division. It's tough. So I'm just very I don't want to say I told you so.
It's only week 3, so we'll revisit this. I'm sure
we'll save it. But three weeks from now,
they're 2-1. So like even if this offense never scores more than 17, which they haven't yet, and they're 5-1 in 3 weeks, then.
And listen, I don't want to be. I'll be one to keep it as fair and as honest as possible. We can jump right into to the next game with that. But the Bucs ain't looking the prettiest either, and they're
another loser, a big loser. I will say with the Bucs, and I'll give you a little bit of a credit. Obviously, there's no wide receivers right now.
Right.
But guess what? Look on the other side. The Green Bay Packers. Who's catching balls over there? Alan Lazard? Are you kidding me? No, absolutely not. Yeah. And I want to give a lot of credit to Bruce Arians and this Bucs defense. This is one of the best defenses I've ever seen. I mean, these guys get after it. You cannot run the ball against this team for the 3rd year in a row. How does that happen for 3 years? Defenses usually are really good. They take a dip. Maybe they come back. just like schemes, they figure it out. No, this defense has been phenomenal for 3 straight years now. But Tom Brady is not taking this divorce thing well. He is not taking not having his number one guy as well, and that's not stuff that you're used to seeing from Tom. Like, he's usually the adversity, he overcomes it. He's letting adversity beat him down right now. And they're 2-1 too. Our two losers are 2-1 teams, but like the bad stuff is on the wall for them, you know?
And so the thing that you can argue with Tampa Bay is that, again, right, like you said, we're injured. We're very injured.
Yeah.
Right. And compared to the team that we had from last year, right? I was watching this morning, First Take with Skip and Shannon, and they were talking, and it was absolute, and not that Tampa Bay's my own team. I'm not trying to be, that guy, but it was absolutely true in the sense you have a brand new O-line, right? You have like one guy returning from that. You have your wide receiver core went from Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Gronk to Brashad Perriman, Russell Gage, Scotty Miller, Cole Beasley that he just called up a week ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a that's an adjustment to make. I think some wins to take away from this. How about the defense?
That's
right?
what I'm saying, dude. It's crazy.
That's crazy. That's the only reason why the Bucs are 2 wins into it, right?
I mean, they didn't play well at all on offense all year yet. Like, even when they had Evans and Julio, they didn't look good. So
it wasn't the greatest, right? Even with you see that Saints game, the last 2 games, really the Bucs hadn't scored a touchdown until the 4th quarter. Right. And so that's bad. That's bad football, right? Not offensive production. And then, the numbers Tom Brady had, right? He finished with 271 yards, 1 touchdown. But again, that was like late. Going into the 4th quarter, he had like 180 yards. It's not great for Tom. You know what I'm saying? The passing quarterback he is. But again, he doesn't have those weapons that he had. So again, it's one of those things where like it's 3rd week, right? So give Cole Beasley some time. Give Russell Gage some time. Brashad Perriman and Russell Gage now are your 1s and 2s right now. Obviously, Mike Evans will probably return next week after his game suspension. But again, those guys are still going to see a lot of production now. So you're going to see them getting touches and just getting a feel for it. It's literally like anything, right? You play pickup basketball out in the park and you shoot a 3, your first 3, and you miss it, but it was a good shot. What do your teammates say? Keep shooting it, right? You know what I'm saying? You're going to make it eventually, right? So get these guys in there, keep catching, keep getting some real in-game reps. Because, I mean, these are great games, right? This is I don't know how potential this is, but they could possibly see each other in the playoffs again, right? So again, this is great football for these younger guys to kind of get acclimated into that kind of offense that Tom's going to run. But it's just, a little bit of trying to figure out this new team and getting through with that. But 2 touchdowns and 0 points in the second half, like that's phenomenal for the defense. Like we've been stepping up in that aspect, which ideally would have been our weakest at point in our team this year, which should have been, right, is our defense. But holding up pretty well.
Yeah. And they'll figure it out. Again, you're never gonna rule out Tom. They have 2 wins. Like again, the 2 teams we're talking about, we're kind of putting a death sentence on a little bit, but they have 2 wins. They're both in first place in their divisions. It's okay. We can breathe, right? I want to talk about a winner though. Be a little bit positive. The biggest winner in the NFL this season currently is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, right now, I don't care about anybody else, is the best player in the NFL. I don't think it's particularly close. I don't think it's really been close for a couple of years, and I think we've kind of just been like, he's not a straight quarterback. I don't care. Nobody's had worse weapons than Lamar during his time as a quarterback. He's already won an MVP. If he plays like this, even maybe a hair down for the rest of the season, he'll win his 2nd MVP. The Ravens' offense looks something out of a fairy tale. I never thought I'd see the Ravens scoring this much so easily every single week.
With pieces that we didn't think that we were going to be seeing, like guys stepping up. Devin
Duvernay's looked amazing.
Returning touchdown kickoffs and
He's
catching
looked amazing.
balls. Mark Andrews has always been who he is, but again, I think the thing with Lamar Jackson is again he's having a MVP season, but the thing was that he's always been that player, right? When you have that outstanding phenomenal, consistent MVP caliber season, and then you don't perform. You do 10, 10, 10, 10, and then you perform a 9.5. People are like, whoa, what's
Whoa,
going on?
why is he worse?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa,
No.
exactly.
No.
That's the thing. It's
No.
like, bro, like, what are you talking about? I'm
He's still
balling.
insane. Yeah, he's balling. He's
Exactly. So that's the thing. I think, and that's I think why he's kind of flew under the radar in the sense of these last couple of years where we haven't been giving him much praise, and a lot of critics really have been saying stuff, right? Because again, he hasn't had the MVP is like best years, but I mean his years weren't bad. Like they were great years,
really
still.
good. In fact,
But the way he's come out this season, even in his loss, it's been outstanding. I mean,
loss
Lamar
wasn't on
Jackson
him. They had like 3 blown coverage defensive possessions in a row. Loss wasn't on him.
Not on him at all. It was literally, like you don't let Cheetah get past you that fast. Like they're Jalen Waddle either. And that's beyond the point.
Yeah.
18 for 29, 4 touchdowns yesterday. Whew. Like that's passing the ball too. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's rushing touchdown as well. Like he's rushing. He's doing everything that we just expected kind of Lamar, what he's known for, just to be that high level quarterback. And I think it's even more impressive that he's doing it with not as many pieces as we would have liked him to see with. Like we probably would have thought his team would have been a little stronger a couple years back compared to now, but they're doing really well
now. Yeah, it's stronger now.
Yeah,
I feel like, despite the defense clearly not being a strength of this team anymore, which kind of sucks.
Now the offense has now taken that lead, and that was always what Baltimore was known for, is defense, right? They were a defensive team, great defensive, had the kind of explosive but okay offense. Now they're like putting up points, 37
every week
points.
they're putting up 37. It seems like it's crazy.
It's crazy.
And I want to just double down on this. Lamar is really our winner, right? He's third in the league in, what is it, QBR? Third in the league in QBR.
Mm-hmm.
He is fifth in the league in rushing yards. He's first in the league in touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. He's so good.
He's on pace.
So
he's on
10
pace
touchdowns already.
Yeah, that's 3 games.
He's going to end up with 60. He's going to end up with 60.
Lamar Jackson, man, he's doing it. He's playing well. And I think he's just having fun with it, you know what I mean? Until he becomes like that serious, like everyone puts the pressure on. I think all the pressure's gone really more than anything.
Yeah.
I feel like now that he's comfortable.
I mean, there's obviously playoff pressure. He's underperformed in playoffs before. That's definitely a thing. And once he gets past that, I think people will be like, he can't be the best player in the league. He's underperforming in the playoffs, which fair enough, whatever. But like, watch the game. Just watch.
Yeah.
Watch the game. Like, stats are amazing. Wins and losses are amazing. At some point, like, all it takes is like 5 minutes of watching him make plays, and you're like, nobody else in this league can do that.
Yeah, and he does both of the things. Yeah. Passes, runs, cuts. It's honestly beautiful. Another winner that I kind of want to get into, speaking of cutting, my boy, I know someone you like in purple. Big winner, Minnesota Vikings yesterday with a big comeback yesterday. And Vikings kind of are on that weird trend, but the winner, in my opinion, in this game are kind of the Lions and how they've been playing this season. Yeah. I know you like the way they came back in that end, but
no, we got dominated. They beat us. We should not have won this game at all.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you won the game, right?
Yeah, give me that dub. 2-1, baby.
Yeah, you guys are sitting pretty right now. You know what I mean? I got another 2-1 team that we can sit here and poop on, but they're 2-1 and they're moving on. They're gonna learn. But right, the Detroit Lions, I think it's a team that we all kind of didn't expect to, or we had like good hopes for them coming up, but I didn't expect this offense to be this strong.
Yeah, the offense looks creative. The offense looks like they understand the pieces they have. And I think that's the biggest issue a lot of teams have, right? They'll have really good weapons. They'll have the Derrick Henrys of this world, the Devontae Adams of this world, and they don't necessarily use them properly. The Lions seem like they do. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's just a playmaker. They've make so many gadget plays just to get him the ball. They're like, hey, we have this big burling back that hates getting tackled in Jamal Williams. Cool, let's put him on every short line yardage scenario. It works. And one thing, I don't know if you guys have watched a lot of Lions games this year. I watched their opener against the Eagles, and it wasn't as much as it was in this Vikings game, but they are aggressive. They went for 7 fourth downs in this game. 7.
Mm,
Now,
yeah.
granted, I do think that comes back to bad coaching a little bit, because if they kicked field goals instead of these fourth downs, they win this game. They kick
Yeah.
2 field goals, they win. But that's kind of like a hindsight thing. They did miss a field goal early, and that's kind of why they did this too. But the aggressiveness for a team that's been horrible for a decade to come out this year and just be that aggressive, going for fourth down in Minnesota, on the road, division game. They want this win. It was cool to see. I was frustrated as hell. I'm like, we have to stop them 4 downs every single time.
Yeah.
It was frustrating because the defense wasn't great yesterday for the Vikings, but they made stops. And then it was 4th and 1, and then they didn't make a stop. And it's like, come on.
Like, you make a stop. It's like when you're up like 7, or when you're down 7-0, and your best player hits like a solo shot in like the 8th inning. Well, thanks. We needed that.
Yeah, we needed that in the 2nd. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah, and that's the thing. And to attest to what you're saying, yeah, the Lions have really just kind of come up with like a little chip on their shoulder offensively. That offense has been pushing. I think they're like the second most points scored out of all the teams throughout their 3 games. I think
it's probably third. It's probably, off the top of my head, it's probably Ravens, Eagles, Lions.
Yeah, Eagles are probably up there too.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, I know they put up 70 points in their last 2 games, and then plus whatever they just put up this last. But it's a lot. That offense has been going crazy. DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams been pushing, and like you said, St. Brown has been special. An underdog story. Yeah, like he's been special, dude. It's been so special. He's really fun to watch, honestly. He's gonna be, I think, they're gonna be a top 100 player next year that we're gonna be hearing stories and seeing about. And again, they're another one of those teams that just play with like not a care in the world. Like everyone already just rides them out. They're the Lions. They haven't been good, the last 10 years probably. It's been forever since the Lions have been good, right? So again, they're just playing with like a chip on their shoulder. I don't know if you saw in the beginning of the season Jamal Williams getting emotional in that little pregame huddle. Like I think that's like America's team, man. Like everyone wants to win, man.
Yeah, and it helps that they're on Hard Knocks this year. I'm pretty sure they're Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
and then
I think that's fun.
And then whenever we've seen their head coach, he's emotional, he's passionate, and they kind of feed off of him, and they kind of resemble him. There's a lot of teams that don't do that, and it's cool to kind of see that.
It is, and speaking of teams, kind of to jump right into teams that kind of feed off of a head coach and how a head coach has been doing great. How about Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah. I want to say this game isn't super indicative of the Chargers. They're the most hurt team in the league currently. Justin Herbert literally shouldn't have played this game. I think it's almost borderline illegal that they let him play. But shout out to Justin for wanting to go out there.
Yeah,
he's a
I
dog.
think somebody else just got hurt today too, or like was officially ruled out.
Rashawn Slater, probably the best left tackle in the sport outside of like Laramie Tunsil. He's out for the season.
Oh man,
and
that's a big blow.
He let up 0 QB pressures before this week. So that's going to be really tough. I think the Chargers are going to have a hard time the rest of the year because of him being out, whatever this Herbert injury is going with. And on top of that, they have the worst rushing attack in football. And now they lose their best offensive lineman. So loser Chargers in general. I don't think they're going to be what we all wanted them to be just because these injuries are too significant. But the Jags, Trevor Lawrence is good. Who would have thought? Number 1 overall pick. It took a year. Whatever that nonsense that happened last year is over with. The Urban Meyer experiment. I don't know why they did that. Ownership should get kicked out of the country for that.
Yeah, it's just outrageous. Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Yeah, what do you like? How can you focus? Like it's tough to be like. How do you play for that? You know what I mean? Like
it doesn't make sense.
It's tough to be on an organization, but like I said, Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl head coach with the Eagles, he's been there. You know what I mean? And he's been doing nothing but great things for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, again, they've been playing very well in their last 3 games. Good start to their season. 2-1 record, right? Again, you lose that first game to Washington, which was kind of weird. But then you kind of blow out and give Indiana or Indianapolis a 0. Give them an egg. So they're doing it on both sides of the field, offense and defense. Trevor Lawrence is getting it done. Travis Travis and Robinson, they've been doing great things.
And it's really
at
James
running
Robinson
back.
too. Like
James Robinson, really, yeah.
James Robinson's looked amazing.
James Robinson, and then you also have to think Trevor Lawrence was what, the #1 overall pick. This man was a special specimen at Clemson.
There's a reason for that.
Dog.
Yeah,
there's a reason. Exactly. That hair was no flow, no joke for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So again, the big thing you want to realize is you guys are big on understanding how big a coaching or organization plays into a player and how they are able to perform. So when you don't have the best coaching, Urban Meyer's situation was just blasphemy, outrageous. Why? Don't even need to deal with that with the first-year guy, second-year guy, right? So again, these little things you got to see. Like, you can't really ride him out or ride the Jacksonville Jaguars out because, again, they're another one of those teams that are in a weird conference, right? Like, they have absolute every reason to win that conference this year.
Yeah, it's a terrible division. Horrible.
Yeah, and there's no reason for them not to, right? And again, with the pieces that they have, they're gonna be doing great things. I mean, if you just see, again,
it might not even be this season, but in general, like,
within the next couple of years, though, people will see that Jacksonville will be a team that you want to play for, and Trevor Lawrence, as well as a couple of these other guys. I mean, again, when you have Zay Jones catching balls, doing his thing, you're gonna be successful this year, especially in that division. There's no doubting that, right?
The one thing that I'm really gonna look at Trevor for, because we're seeing the talent now, right? Yesterday he was really good. Like, he looked very, very good. He had 3 touchdowns. He was like well over 60% passing, and he made some really good throws in the red zone, which is
ran the ball a little bit. Scrambled.
I want him to create that culture you're talking about. Make people want to play with you, because Jacksonville is historically horrible at that. Where you go there, you play well. Remember the Blake Bortles years? How much talent there was over there. And all of them wanted to leave because of how bad just like the environment was. So if Trevor can kind of flip the narrative and make people want to play there, get these young guys, make them want to re-sign, or little things like that, maybe get a free agent, which they've never done that. So I'm going to look to Trevor for that. It's not going to be an easy task, but they're 2-1 right now. They're the lower end of 2-1 teams. Like, we literally said the Bucs and the Jags have the same record. One of them's a better team. Like, the Bucs are a better team than Jacksonville. That's just how it is. But
if the Bucs play the Jacksonville
if they played them last night, the Jags are winning by 20.
Yeah,
so
exactly, and that's the thing of it. That's the weird thing about football, right? You know, you won. I don't want to say maybe one player, but literally 1 to 2 players can really determine whether or not that team is going to perform to where you need. Right, you lose an O lineman, boom. Now you got your quarterback running for his life the whole game on the left side. Right, so football is that game where you lose like 1 or 2 guys, and the outcome kind of flips that whole switch. Like you said though, this season has been kind of weird. There hasn't been that many. Like, usually this season, there's like those teams who are like are very dominant when they play like certain teams and they're not supposed to lose. Like last year when we see Kansas City playing, right? Usually they start off undefeated the next couple of games. This year they start off really strong and then lose a game to Indianapolis. A very good game.
And that game.
I don't know. Yeah, it was a very good game watching that, and I was nail biting because I had Indy plus the 5.5, and they covered. They did my
easy
thing.
Cover. Easy cover.
Yeah, always easy cover. 5.5 free money. Come on. Was sweating a little bit. But like you said, I know I was giving a little hate on my guy Matt Ryan a little bit at the beginning of the season, but he's not doing too bad. He's doing very well, actually.
Again, another guy. It's gonna take some time. It's gonna acclimate. Him and Russ are in a very similar situation, right? They've both been to Super Bowl, so they're super veteran. Like, they've never played for another team though. So just like in general, being like just walking down like onto the field and looking on you, you see you're wearing blue instead of red or black. You're like, huh, it's a little weird. And it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I don't see a whole lot of upside on this Matt Ryan thing, but the Colts are 1-1-1.
Yeah. It's just weird. Again, another weird division. You have a superstar in Jonathan Taylor. That's just like a team where it kind of is like, what can happen? You have your superstar running back, really good quarterback, veteran quarterback, and a lot of young guys as well. That are kind of swarming, So what are we gonna do in Indianapolis? We're gonna build from this and kind of go. But again, they're in the AFC, like right. So it's gonna be tough if you really want to consider these guys contenders,
Contenders,
right?
yeah. But that division is very winnable, so
It's a very winnable division, and to be quite frank, we didn't expect it to look like this right now, right?
no.
So, the AFC, I guess, is a big toss up, and week 3, let's just see how everything plays out for a little longer. See who gets healthy, see who gets hurt. Knock on wood, hopefully no one gets hurt, but that's just the name of the game, unfortunately, right? Who can stay the healthiest? You see it with all these sports that we play. Who can stay the healthiest from the beginning to the end? That's the biggest thing.
It's really
Baseball.
hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Exactly. Basketball, right? So again, who can stay the healthiest through the season and perform, right? I think, again, the Kansas City Chiefs losing that game doesn't mean that they're not still
Doesn't
a
mean
playoff
anything.
team.
Doesn't mean anything.
Like, okay, so what? Like, right? So is what
and
it is.
And it's kind of funny because if before the season you told me week 3 the Chiefs are going to lose to the Colts, I'd probably think, wow, okay, the Chiefs are probably 1-2. They're probably not playing great defensively, and they're probably sputtering. And it just couldn't be further from the truth. They're 2-1. The defense has been fantastic. It was just one of those rare, the offense didn't really click type of days, and they couldn't get it going. They couldn't get the ball rolling, and that, it's football. Like, it happens. So it's completely different than the narrative I thought it was going to be. I think a lot of teams are kind of taking us by surprise. One that's not is the Eagles. The Eagles look fantastic. A lot of people thought they were going to before the season. I just didn't think their defense was going to be this good.
Yeah.
Because especially week 1, like we saw the Lions put up the 35 week 1, and we're like, whoa, that's a red flag. And no, it just turns out the Lions have a really good offense. And and the Eagles were up big, and it kind of let off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
But they only give up 7 to the Vikings and 8 to the Commanders. Two straight within a full not even 7 days.
8 points that they didn't get until the fourth quarter. Like,
yeah, it was a safety, and then a garbage time touchdown because Carson Wentz is the king of garbage time. Flip it over to the loser. The Washington Commanders are the biggest loser in terms of mediocrity. I thought they were actually going to take a step up. I thought Carson was better than Taylor Heineke. Not by much, but like veteran. He had it a little bit. The team got better, I think, drafting Jahan Dotson. So now they had 2 weapons on the outside. The defense is healthy this year. Defense looks horrible. I thought this Commanders defense was going to be good. I love their front 7. I still love their front 7.
Yeah.
22, 36, 24. Right to the head.
Not very good. Not pretty. And you almost want to just tank this year at this point, right? It's the way it's like looks so far. But I think that's the biggest thing, like you said, their defense hasn't looked pretty, and Carson Wentz is like, all right. You know what I mean? They don't really have a quarterback that's kind of doing their thing. And I will say they did play the Eagles, which I think are, a phenomenal team. One of the only
as of right
teams.
now, like I'm going to put my power rankings out tomorrow. Spoiler warning, they're going to be number 1.
They have to be number 1.
They're going to be number 1 on that right now. And that's just the way that has to be. That's just the way that has to be.
Jalen Hurts has been nothing short of great again.
If Lamar wasn't being like superhuman, Jalen Hurts is number 2 on like the MVP ladder at this moment, at least in my eyes.
Yeah. He's number 2 right now for sure, outside of Lamar. But I mean, yesterday he threw for 123 and a half QBR, 3 touchdowns, 340 yards. I mean, like that's what you need out of your franchise, right? That's what you want. You want him to move. You want him to do everything he needs to do. And again, now he has AJ Brown. I'm sorry. And still those same guys at the end, and Goddard. And
Smith,
really, again, you have a dual threat quarterback in Jalen Hurts, right? He can scramble, he can move, he can get out of the pocket, and he can slang that bit too. He can really throw that thing. And now you got their defense, like you said, stepping up, playing at this like now kind of playoff championship caliber level now. Eagles are going to be a great team in the NFC East, and they're absolutely winning that conference. There's no reason why they should not.
They're winning that division by a mile.
$1,000,000,000%. So it'll just be to see how these guys perform in the playoffs. Really, realistically looking at it, like you said, Washington though. I really what happened in the last couple of years? Like defense
I
just
don't
hasn't
know.
been
They feel like they're like a piece or two away. Like they felt like forever. They're a quarterback away, but it's kind of like, in the NBA, and I think this is a really good example. In the NBA, how they say the 7 seed is a death sentence. Like, you never want to be a 7 seed. Not because you're not in the playoffs. Playoffs is awesome. Making the playoffs is a great accomplishment. But the 7 seed means you were good enough against the bad teams, but you couldn't beat the good teams. And that means you're probably going to lose in 5 to the 2 seed. And you think you're so close to being better, and you try and get better, but it doesn't get better. Because unless you're getting a Kevin Durant or a top 5 guy, you're not going to take that leap. And so you're just stuck in this 5 to 9 seed range until you decide to blow it up for however long that lasts. That's kind of where the Commanders are. They're going to stay in this weird maybe 10 win, maybe 7 win range. Until they decide, you know what? It's time to go 0-17 and actually rebuild this.
Rebuild, fully rebuild.
Actually, no retooling. Retooling is great when you have a great organization that has won before.
You retool when you have a good foundation.
Yeah, exactly. When you have the pieces to make the smaller pieces in the cog work, right? But when you have coaching issues that you've had for the longest time, like Ron Rivera is not the guy. He's probably going to get fired after this year. He's not the guy. You've had. I want to know how many quarterbacks they've had since 2012. I want to know. It's got to be upwards of 11. It has to.
Yeah, probably.
And the crazy part about that is Kirk Cousins started 4 of those years. So how do you have 11 when 4 of them are occupied by one guy?
Who's now doing decent things in Minnesota. It's crazy. That's, a lot of issues in that organization.
But if you guys have been following this podcast a long time, what's the one city that I roast the most? It's Washington. I don't know what it is about these DC sports, but they are so brain dead. Besides the Capitals, shout out to the Capitals. They know what they're doing over there. But bro, the Commanders, again, they're gonna stay perpetually mid. The Nationals, they win a World Series. They don't re-sign Bryce Harper. They signed Corbin. Patrick Corbin to a mega deal. Strasburg to a mega deal. They trade Juan Soto. Trey Turner gets traded. What are we doing?
What are you doing for real? That's
the Wizards are
Wizards.
Why are the Wizards re-signing Bradley Beal? For what? You guys suck. You guys are horrible. Why did you trade for Russell Westbrook?
Why? Who's starting?
Why? Stop trying to be good. Tank, please.
Please, for Christ's sake.
Holy.
Retool.
God.
Retool.
Dang. At least the Nationals were just you know what? We're going to be bad. Let's get rid of everybody. At least they... But that was after they signed all these stupid-ass deals, and they didn't re-sign Rendon. Goddamn.
Washington is the type of team that keeps investing in a 2005 Ford Mustang. And instead of just buying a
2017,
instead of just trading it into the dealership, just getting a new car and just restarting your whole thing, you just keep taking it to the mom and pop shop down the street, fixing it for $100.
And guess what? Now we're on our 5th transmission.
Oh man, car's got 390,000 miles on the engine. Welcome to Washington.
The brakes are squeaky even though you just replaced them.
Hey, but we signed Bradley Beal and it's a Mustang. So it's a Mustang.
That was a good example. I go on these Washington rants at least 2 or 3 times a year. I haven't had one in a while, so that felt necessary.
Man, that's funny. I think. Oh, sorry, phone. I think that's just gonna be kind of a weird thing again. And if you you were speaking up earlier, if you told me that Washington was gonna look this bad coming into the season or a year ago, I'd have been nah, not this bad. Are you crazy? Along with another team, what's going on in Cincinnati?
They look better.
It's getting better. Well, what are we doing?
I'm not gonna credit them too much. Super Bowl hangover. They got a gimme game against the Jets. That's gonna help them. They played well. Joe looked good. You know who looked good in that game, though? I don't know how much of that game you watched. They didn't show a lot of it on Red Zone.
I didn't.
That rookie Sauce Gardner over there in New York is a
Oh,
dog.
He's
A
demon. He's
dog.
He's on demon time.
I
And
don't.
his
I need
your
y'all.
name is Sauce. You
I
cannot be named Sauce and be bad.
And you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
If you guys have
No.
a chance, watch the Jets on defense. If they target their number one receiver, Sauce is probably on them, and it's probably Clamps.
No, Clamp City all day. Dude, Clamp
He
City
gave
all
up
day.
one big play to T. Higgins, and it was like T. Higgins jumped and like turned, caught one-handed, and like got tackled mid-catch, and it was like, damn, well, you're just better.
Yeah.
You're just better.
I mean, and Jamar Chase was kind of locked down too on that game.
Clamps.
Locked down.
There was
all
one
day.
like there was one play in particular where it was a classic like play that got them to the Super Bowl last year, where it was Jamar essentially on a go route, a little misdirection, and he went just up the seam. Sauce stayed with him, stride for stride, jumped with him, and got his hand under the ball and ripped it out instead of Jamar coming down with it. And that was a play last year Jamar was catching, landing, and then going into the end zone. And he didn't let that happen. I was like, I saw that play, and I was like, that's a rookie? Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh, no. So
Oh no.
that's a de facto winner. Shout out to the Jets on a really good draft.
Yeah, really good draft pick. Yeah, NFL is just to say none the least a little weird to start.
It always is, though. Like, the NFL is the weirdest league in the world because no matter how good a team looks, no matter how good a team feels, they're gonna lose games to teams they shouldn't.
Yeah.
They're
That's
just going
sports.
to.
Anybody can win on any given day.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel that way about most sports. Basketball is a little bit weird where I never feel like the Knicks are gonna beat like the Bucks. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes talent's just better.
Football is more of the sport where teams will go undefeated. You know what I mean? Obviously it's never in baseball. You'll never see a team go undefeated. It'll never happen. The day a team
if that ever happens, just cancel the sport. Just end it.
No,
they beat the game.
What?
They beat the game.
That's every player on that team's getting drug tested every day. If that's the case, your pitchers, you gotta stay healthy, dude. No way. Anyways, if there's a team like or a sport where a team's gonna go undefeated, it's gonna be football. Basketball is tough, very tough. Possible.
There's just too many games.
Tough.
There's just too many games in other sports.
Yeah,
but like football, it's not gonna happen either.
Close. I mean, Golden State damn near fucking did it. Like
they did. They damn near did. You're not wrong.
They damn near did.
But they lost 9 games that year.
That's crazy.
It was 9 games.
Like that's outrageous. So again,
that's outrageous.
Football has like what 18, 19 games.
Well, if you go all the way, I think it's if you go all the way as the 1 seed, I think it's 20. You'd have to go 20 games.
Okay, so if you go all the way as a 1 seed, yeah, because that's what you would be at ideally. Is if you're undefeated.
You think we'll ever see that happen? I don't think we'll ever see it.
Came close. Tom Brady almost did it, man.
Cam Newton almost did it too. Lost 2 games.
Cameron.
Yeah.
Dang. I don't know. It could be. It'd be very interesting to see. I feel like you really need like a super team though in the NFL, and that just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, and they don't work. Super teams don't work. Besides the Rams last year, like the Rams are an oddity. Like taking random guys, throwing them on a team never works in the NFL. It's all about schemes, all about fit, it's all about personalities and buying in. It's the only sport that I've ever felt coaching actually matters.
Absolutely.
Because like, yeah, coaching matters to an extent in like the NBA, but like you're going to watch Steve Nash is going to go out there and coach with a blindfold on because he doesn't know what he's talking about as a head coach. And the Nets are going to win 60 games.
Because they just can play
basketball. If they're healthy, because they have KD and Kyrie, and I'm not going to say Ben Simmons.
Can facilitate.
They'll be good. Baseball a little bit, but not even. I could go manage the Dodgers right now and we win 100 games. Yeah, if you're going to look me in the face and you tell me I can't take that Dodgers team to 100 wins as the manager, you're dead wrong. You're a bozo.
Yeah. It doesn't take the toughest. I mean, you see some of the best managers in baseball are non-players. Kevin Cash, bullpen catcher, not an actual player, right? Yeah. Arguably one of the best managers in the year. It doesn't take too much to
Yeah.
to have, to take your team out there. Football, you got to have that. You
Yeah,
got to have,
yeah. Or you
you
just have
got
to
to
have
have
been like
coach.
a football mind forever and just been in it for a while. Yeah.
Just too many guys and again, football is also one of those things where all of your guys are not playing. Like you have different guys for offense and defense. You don't play both offense and defense as a player. Baseball,
It's
what?
harder to
You play both.
yeah, it's harder to manage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's harder to manage when you have strictly guys on offense, strictly guys on defense,
Yeah.
guys who are, special teams. Now you got to mix in, right? Guys are just, and you don't see as well, and maybe you do see it in basketball, I guess, where players are kind of running kind of plays, but then that's where the conflict comes. You don't see as much conflict in basketball when that happens as you do in football, right?
A lot more
LeBron James will sit
possessions
here.
too, so
Yeah,
that makes
LeBron
sense,
James will
yeah.
sit here and facilitate and run plays and call plays the whole time or the whole damn game. And Tom Brady will, but Tom Brady can't call plays on defense. So that's where it becomes like, that issue. So football, tough. Very
Football's tough,
tough.
man. Football's tough. I do want to give a big shout out to the two wildest plays of the week before we head up out of here. We had a Jimmy Garoppolo safety pick six simultaneous this week. He steps out of the end zone. So shout out to Jimmy G. Steps in the back of the end zone, which, brother, come on. And then he throws a horrible pass for a pick six, but shout out because he stepped back.
Yeah.
So it was a safety first.
Good thing. Save the thing he did.
But it's been a while since we've seen a defensive 8-point play almost happen, but Jimmy G tried his best to deliver that.
Yeah.
And then also in the back of the end zone, also resulting in a safety. In the Miami Dolphins game, we got first, the prequel was the butt fumble. The sequel, the butt punt.
The bumple.
The bumple.
The bumple and the butt.
And the butt.
The bunt.
And this was weird. He just kicks it right off of his lead blocker's butt. It goes directly backwards. And it was just like, at first I saw it, I thought he just kicked it straight up. I genuinely just thought he missed the kick. He muffed it, and it just went
straight up behind him.
Yeah, no, it went off the guy's butt. They were at the back of the end zone, so there was limited space. But
I didn't know it hit off the butt either. That's what I thought first. I was like, you goofy. You kicked it straight up. Like
that's something like a kindergartner does the first time they kick a ball. Like they kick it behind them.
I was thinking I was watching the game with my buddy, and I was like, dude, as soon as he gets to the sideline, he's getting chewed out. It's funny in the NFL, when you see college guys do make a messed up play, you're like, oh, there goes a scholarship. You just make funny jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, I remember we were seeing that, we were laughing, and then we seen it hit off the butt. We were like, oh, butt punt. And that's crazy. What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds? So big shout out to those two plays because those are ridiculous plays that you don't ever see. I've never seen the safety pick six, and we've seen block punts for safeties, but that was an interesting one. And then it was even crazier because then if the Bills got the ball, they could have kicked the field goal to win it, but they ran out of time. That ending was just
horrid.
Come on,
horrid.
Guys.
It was crazy though. It was a nail biter. It was fun. It was a great game. I think that was probably the best game of the day.
It was the best game of the day. There was no reason Tua was still out there. There's got to be an investigation. That man was so concussed.
He was stumbling off of the field.
Bro, he literally couldn't move. Happened. He couldn't stand up.
Oh, he was cool. I was like, uh-oh. Best backup in the league coming in and come clean it up. Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
And then he gets sacked.
I was like, Fitzpatrick's back in Miami?
Oh, no. Teddy Bridgewater's actually a really good backup quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That we could save that can of worm for another time, but I think he's done great things as a backup. So
I agree. We're gonna call it there. I appreciate you, Nico, for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. If you were over on YouTube, if you're not, make sure you go check out our YouTube. We got Gerard, who was at that Miami game, coming out with a vlog either this week or sometime next week. We got some more great videos coming up with the MLB playoffs going on, and then we have this episode that comes out every single Monday for you guys to go ahead and check out. If you don't already follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Spectators Media. You can go check us out. You can see our beautiful faces. You can see our beautiful graphics. It's chef's kiss. But thank you guys again. We'll see you next week. Nico, appreciate you, buddy.
We're riding under tonight. We'll smell you guys later. Under 39 points, NFL football game. You heard it here first. If you don't see it on the TikTok tonight, you better be watching the video for a free game.
It's free. Later, everybody. Peace. Peace.
Free money.